Maya's hands trembled as she stared at her phone screen. $950 million in her account. One notification had just made her the richest woman she knew, and possibly the most hunted. Maya Chen had been awake for 3 minutes when her world turned upside down. She'd opened her banking app to check if she could afford her morning coffee, something she did every day now, ever since her father's bookstore started bleeding money. But instead of the usual $47.23, the screen showed a number so large it didn't fit properly. $950 million. She blinked, refreshed. The number stayed. Her first thought wasn't excitement. It was terror. Maya had grown up in her father's bookstore, surrounded by stories of people who stumbled into fortunes they didn't earn. Those stories never ended well. She grabbed her laptop with shaking hands and logged into her accounts again. Same number. A wire transfer from something called Cross Enterprises Holdings. She didn't know anyone at Cross Enterprises. She didn't know anyone with enterprises, period. By 9 a.m., she'd called the bank 4 times. Each representative sounded more confused than the last. "Ma'am, the transfer appears legitimate, but it can't be for me. The account number matches yours perfectly. There's no indication of fraud." Maya hung up and pressed her palms against her eyes. This was someone's life savings, someone's company, someone's everything. And it was sitting in her account because of a typo. Most people would have waited, consulted a lawyer, maybe moved a little bit of it, just to be safe. Maya called the bank back and initiated a full return transfer before lunch. All $950 million. Every cent. The representative actually gasped. "Ma'am, are you absolutely certain?" "Send it back. Now, before someone thinks I stole it." By 2 p.m., her account was back to $47.23. By 3 p.m., her phone rang from an unknown number. "Miss Chen." The voice was male, smooth, and carried the kind of authority that made you sit up straighter without thinking. "This is Damien Cross. I believe you just returned something of mine." Damien Cross wasn't used to being surprised. He'd built a $12 billion tech empire by predicting what people wanted before they knew themselves. He understood human nature with surgical precision. Greed, ambition, fear. These were constants you could calculate and exploit. But Maya Chen had just shattered his entire model of human behavior. "I need to meet you," he said. It wasn't a request. "I don't think that's necessary," Maya replied, her voice tight. "The money's back. We're done." No one returns $950 million without wanting something. I didn't want it in the first place. Damian leaned back in his leather chair, 43 floors above Manhattan. Through his window, the city sprawled beneath him like a kingdom he'd conquered block by block. "Miss Chen, I'm going to be direct. In my experience, everyone has a price. You just proved yours is higher than most. So name it. What do you want?" There was a long pause. "I want you to stop calling me." She hung up. Damien stared at his phone, a slow smile spreading across his face. For the first time in a decade, someone had genuinely confused him. He found that absolutely intoxicating. Maya thought that would be the end of it. It was just the beginning. The next morning, a black town car appeared outside her bookstore. The driver handed her an envelope containing a handwritten note on paper so expensive it felt like fabric. Dinner, tonight, 8 p.m. I don't accept no for an answer. D. Underneath was a reservation confirmation for Aquavit, the kind of restaurant Maya had only seen in magazines. She crumpled the note and threw it in the trash. At noon, a lawyer arrived with paperwork for a consultation fee of $100,000 just for having returned the money. She refused to sign. At 3 p.m., Damian himself walked through the door of her bookstore. He was taller than she'd imagined, dressed in a suit that probably cost more than her rent. Everything about him screamed power, from his confident stride to the way he examined her small shop like he was calculating its real estate value. "You're persistent," Maya said, not looking up from the register. "You're fascinating." Damien picked up a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice from a nearby shelf. He set the book down carefully. "Do you know why I really called you? To get your money back, which you did. The money was never in danger. My team traced the error within minutes." He set the book down carefully. "I called because in 38 years, no one has ever chosen integrity over $950 million. Not once. Not ever. Maybe you've been meeting the wrong people." That's exactly my point. One dinner. Answer 3 questions, then I'll leave you alone. Maya finally looked at him directly. His eyes were storm gray and unnervingly intense. "Why?" "Because I need to understand you, and because—" He hesitated, and for a moment the billionaire mask slipped. "I haven't been genuinely curious about another person in a very long time." Against every instinct screaming at her to refuse, Maya found herself nodding. "One dinner, 3 questions, then you disappear." Deal. As he turned to leave, he paused at the door. "Maya, the transfer wasn't entirely a mistake." Her blood went cold. "What?" "It was deliberate. Just not by me." His expression darkened. "Someone wanted to see what you do with my money. And now that same someone knows exactly who you are." He left before she could ask what he meant. Aquavit was everything Maya had feared. Crystal chandeliers, prices without numbers on the menu, and other diners who looked like they owned small countries. She'd worn her only nice dress, a simple black cocktail number that felt painfully inadequate. Damian was already seated, and when he saw her, something in his expression softened. "You look beautiful." "You said 3 questions. Start asking." He smiled at her directness. "Why did you return the money?" "Because it wasn't mine." 99% of people would have kept at least some of it, claimed it was a windfall, hired lawyers to fight for it. Maya set down her water glass. "My father used to say that how you behave when no one's watching defines who you really are. Someone made a mistake. I wasn't going to profit from it." Damien studied her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "Second question. What do you want most in the world?" "To keep my father's bookstore open. It's losing money every month, but It's all I have left of him. I could write you a check right now that would solve that problem. I don't want your money, Mr. Cross. Damian, and I'm beginning to believe you. He leaned forward. Final question. Are you afraid of me? Maya met his gaze without flinching. Should I be? Most people are. Most people probably want something from you. I don't. That's exactly why you terrify me, Maya. The admission hung between them, raw and unexpected. Here's what he won't tell you, Victoria continued. Damien Cross collects people, beautiful, interesting people that catch his eye. He studies them, learns them, then gets bored and moves on. She leaned closer. You returned his money, which makes you a novelty, but novelties don't last. Why are you telling me this? Victoria's smile widened. Because I'm done being his ex, and I needed to know who I was competing with. She pulled out her phone and showed Maya a photo. Damian and Victoria at some gala, his arm. Here's what he won't tell you, Victoria continued. Damien Cross collects people. Beautiful, interesting people that catch his eye. He studies them, learns them, then gets bored and moves on. She leaned closer. You returned his money, which makes you a novelty. But novelties don't last. Why are you telling me this? Victoria's smile widened. Because I'm done being his ex, and I needed to know who I was competing with. She pulled out her phone and showed Maya a photo of Damian and Victoria at some gala, his arm around her waist, both of them looking like they'd stepped out of a fairy tale. This was taken 3 months ago. Did he mention that? She swept out before Maya could respond, leaving only the scent of expensive perfume and doubt. If you can't stand people who manipulate and deceive, comment honesty over games. Don't let the Victorias of the world win. Damien showed up that evening to find Maya closing the shop early. You lied to me, she said without preamble. About what? Victoria, your fiancée. My ex-fiancée. And no, I didn't lie. I just didn't think. Didn't think I needed to know that you were engaged 3 months ago, that you're probably still in love with her. I'm not. Damien's voice was sharp. Maya, Victoria and I were a business arrangement dressed up as a romance. Our families wanted a merger. We played along. It was never real. Then why didn't you tell me? Because. I ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. Because with you, everything feels real. For the first time in my life, someone sees me. Not my money, not my power, just me. I didn't want to contaminate that with my past. Your past came into my bookstore today and told me I'm just another novelty you'll get bored with. Damien moved closer, his eyes blazing. You are not a novelty. You're the first person who's ever made me want to be better. The first person I've ever been terrified of losing. How do I know that's true? Because I'm telling you things I've never told anyone. He took her hands, his grip desperate. Victoria is poison, Maya. She's manipulative, vindictive, and she can't stand that I chose to walk away. Whatever she said to you was designed to push us apart. Maya wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. Prove it, she whispered. Prove this is real. Damien pulled her close and kissed her with an intensity that erased every doubt. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. I'll prove it every day, he said. If you'll let me. Maya let him. For 3 perfect weeks, they existed in a bubble.
He took her to his penthouse, where they cooked dinner together like normal people. She showed him the city through her eyes. Small cafes, used bookstores, the places that had heart instead of price tags. He was different with her, lighter, like he'd been holding his breath for years and finally remembered how to exhale. But Victoria wasn't done. The proof arrived via email to Maya's personal account, a video file with no subject line. Maya almost deleted it. Almost. She clicked play. The footage was from a security camera, dated 2 weeks earlier. It showed Damian in what looked like a hotel suite, and Victoria was there. They were arguing at first, Victoria gesturing wildly. Then Damian pulled her close and kissed her. Maya's world shattered. She watched it 3 times, each viewing carving deeper into her chest. The timestamp was unmistakable, right in the middle of their perfect bubble. Her phone rang. Damian. She didn't answer. It rang again and again. Finally, a text. Maya, please, whatever you've seen, it's not what you think. Let me explain. But Maya had heard enough explanations. She'd been the fool who thought a billionaire could actually love a bookstore owner. She blocked his number.
Damien showed up at her apartment at midnight, looking more destroyed than Maya had ever seen him. "I know you saw the video," he said through the door, "and I know how it looked. Go away, Damien." "Victoria drugged me." Maya froze. She invited me to discuss some business assets we still shared. I was stupid enough to go. She put something in my drink. I have the talk screen to prove it. When I was disoriented, she staged that kiss and had her assistant record it. His voice broke. "Maya, I would never betray you. Never." Slowly, Maya opened the door. Damien's eyes were red-rimmed, his shirt wrinkled. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Why would she do that? Because the money transfer wasn't a mistake at all. Damien's expression darkened. "Victoria orchestrated the whole thing. She hacked my company system and sent you the money hoping you'd keep it so she could destroy my reputation for falling for a thief. When you returned it, she pivoted, decided to destroy us instead." Maya felt dizzy. This was all a trap from the beginning? The transfer was. But us? He stepped closer, cupping her face. Us was the realest thing I've ever experienced. And Victoria knows it. That's why she's fighting so hard. What do we do? Damien's smile was cold. We fight back. The takedown was surgical. Damien's legal team had been building a case against Victoria for corporate espionage, fraud, attempted extortion. Maya provided the video Victoria had sent, which contained metadata proving it had been edited. But Damien wanted more than legal victory. He wanted Victoria to understand what she'd lost. They arranged a meeting at his office, all 3 of them. Victoria arrived expecting Damien to beg her to drop her vendetta. Instead, Maya was sitting in his chair. "Hello, Victoria," Maya said calmly. Victoria's perfect composure cracked. "What is this?" "This is you realizing you never actually knew Damien at all. You saw his money, his power, his usefulness to your ambitions, but you never saw him." Damien emerged from the shadows, moving to stand beside Maya. "You're being charged with 12 felonies. My lawyers estimate 15 years if you're convicted." Victoria paled. "You wouldn't dare. My family." "Your family is cutting ties as we speak. I made sure of it. You tried to destroy the woman I love. Did you really think I'd show you mercy?" "I loved you," she screamed, her polish finally shattering. "No," Maya said quietly. "You loved what he represented. There's a difference." Security escorted her out, her threats echoing down the hallway. When they were alone, Damian turned to Maya. I need to ask you something. He dropped to one knee. Maya Chen, you returned $950 million because it was the right thing to do. You saw past my money to who I actually am. I made you want to be worthy of you. He pulled out a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. Will you marry me? Maya looked at this man who had turned her entire world upside down. This impossible, complicated, beautiful man who had chosen her. Yes, she whispered. Yes. If you believe love should conquer greed and manipulation, subscribe right now. 3 months later, Maya stood in the renovated bookstore, no longer struggling, but thriving thanks to Damian's investment as her equal partner. She was arranging a new display when an envelope arrived by courier. Inside was a single photograph. Victoria standing outside the bookstore. The timestamp was from that morning. And written on the back in elegant script, prison sentences can be shortened with good behavior. See you soon. -V. Maya's hands shook as she pulled out her phone to call Damian, but before she could dial, her banking app notification chimed. Another transfer. $950 million. Again. And this time, the sender name made her blood run cold. Chen Cross joint account. Someone had access to our money. Someone who knew exactly how to hurt us. Maya looked up at the security camera in the corner of her shop and saw the red light was off. It had been recording everything, until now. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Against every instinct, she answered. Victoria's voice came through, as sweet as poison. Did you really think it was over, Maya? We're just getting started. The line went dead. Some love stories are simple. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, the end. But when you fall in love with a billionaire, nothing is ever simple. Money attracts allies, and it attracts enemies. Maya thought returning $950 million was the hardest choice she'd ever make. She was about to learn it was only the beginning. Because in Damien Cross's world, everything comes with a price. Even love. Especially love. And Victoria Ashford always collects her debts. To be continued.